Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa says about 96 billion rands will go towards a pipeline of projects, which include student accommodation, social housing, telecommunications, water and sanitation, and transport. Ramaphosa referred to infrastructure as the central point to economic reconstruction and recovery. In South Africa, more than 5.3 million households and 21 million people don't have clean water. South Africa is naturally a water-scarce country and the 30th driest in the world. Water Resources Group predicts that the country's water demand will outstrip supply by 2030. Now let's discuss this further. We are now joined via Zoom by Professor Mary Galvin, an Associate Professor at the Department of Anthropology and Development Studies. Prof Galvin, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Now, Prof, do you get the sense from the SONA last night that government will now start to prioritize the water and sanitation crisis in this country? I mean, access to water in South Africa still remains a major challenge.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the SONAs is you get your hopes up. I think everyone feels like that. You listen and think, okay, this is going to happen. But it was this time last year that there was going to be a national water resources infrastructure agency set up. And I know that progress has been made, but a year later, still hasn't been fully legislated, still not operating. So these things take time. And the infrastructure question is one that you can't just run at. It takes years to build dams. It takes years to make the kinds of changes we need to make. But the main point that I keep coming back to is it's not just a matter of money. We are facing a crisis of governance that is affecting the water sector severely, water and sanitation, where you have a situation where people don't have water. Water is polluted. The agencies are not working. And it's having the impact where people are so frustrated by not having their socioeconomic rights met that there's a tendency that they're just giving up on democracy. This is running deep, and it largely sits with our municipalities.
Now, you've answered my next couple of questions, and that speak largely to, how much these challenges are attributed to poor infrastructure as well as poor governance. And you mainly saying it should be around poor governance. I mean, is there a lack of leadership that we're seeing around, some of these projects? I mean, 96 billion rands to various number of projects, particularly I'm interested in our conversation that we are talking about today. I mean, it's staggering. 21 million people still don't have clean water. What would you suggest should happen now that, this announcement was made by the president last night?
Yeah, I mean, people in my position love when you ask what we think should happen. I have 4 things that I think should happen. The first is that we really have to focus on municipalities. Municipalities are not listening to people on the ground. If they try to go and have meetings, if they try to protest, and now in situations like in the Eastern Cape, in Amatole district municipality, the local government's taken to court, and then they're held in contempt of court. They're not responding. So what do we do when the municipalities who are meant to deliver the water are faced with such widespread unwillingness and corruption and all the things we know so well? We need to have a major intervention. And if the president wants to act decisively, there needs to be a consideration of a national intervention, as is possible in the Constitution, where at the national level, they take back some of the competencies for water and sort it all out. That's one sort of suggestion. This agency that was supposed to get started last year, we need to get it up and running. We need to be careful, like it would be an SOE. Do we need more SOEs? But it could we have to deal with the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. We need to get bigger systems in place. And then I think the other thing is the Department of Water Affairs, Water and Sanitation. That state capture didn't just stop the Zondo Commission and the things we've heard there, that trickled down into these government departments. And the Department of Water and Sanitation has a huge challenge ahead of trying to get over the centralization and the taking out of skilled professionals and the killing of the regulatory capacity, which the president did respond to or mention in his SONA address. We need some attention, because then it's the blind leading the blind. And I guess I'll just put the final comment that our water systems are struggling because of our reliance on mining and our reliance on fossil fuels. And until we can have some attention to really putting alternative sources into place and real regulation, we'll continue not only to have our precious minerals taken from our ground and leaving us with very little, but we'll also continue to face the pollution that so many people are suffering from.
Another, challenge is perhaps what we are seeing now at municipal level, as you've rightfully said, that municipalities are not listening to people on the ground, is the fact that, a change in governance. I mean, these coalitions that are taking place, it seems like it will be a very long time before we can start seeing people actually, being helped from a service delivery point of view. But if you have to look at all of these challenges, and we know that South Africa has a number of targets that they've set, a number of goals that they've set. So if you had to look at where South Africa is now, do you even think that we can remotely achieve the sustainable development goal that we've set ourselves for, for provision to equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water?
I personally think the Sustainable Development Goals end up being a red herring of government trying to come up with numbers so it internationally can make pronouncements of huge successes that have been achieved. I think that we need to be focusing much more locally at sorting our own house out, getting our own house in order. Councillors need to listen to people. Sector leaders need to be brought to the table, not just to go to some grand summit, but actually to be in discussion. Civil society has some of the answers to work with local government and try to make the system work.
Professor, thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this afternoon. I really do appreciate you.